Okay, so if you don't understand anything that I'm saying, this recording is going to be uploaded in my YouTube channel. I'm not going to be a YouTuber, but we need a kind of support for you to keep on reading or keep on listening this conversation. Okay, well, for today we're going to talk about two little aspects that yeah, one of those was missing from the previous part related to the feedback, corrective feedback, to be even more clear, to be clearer. My mistake, right? And the other one is going to be interaction, but I don't think that we're going to have enough time for me to talk about interaction, classroom interaction, right? Therefore, I'm going to share the information I want you to look for what next class that is going to be in 8 days, right? And also information that I would like you to read all over the week. That is going to be related to this class, but I have forgotten that. Where is that? Here. Okay. So I would like you to look information to do a little research inside the chat part. I'm going to copy and paste this information. So we're going to talk about 5 different theories related to clashing, right? And one of the most important theories from him that is called input plus one. So I would like you to read information about that, and I'm going to do a video explaining that information on YouTube, right? I think I'm going to do it tomorrow. So anytime tomorrow, I'm going to upload that information, okay? Okay, the other one is going to be classroom interaction. Yeah, we're going to explain a particular phenomenon while or inside the observation. Remember that you have conducted a previous observation. And if you haven't, I need you to observe the first class in English because we're going to talk about that, right? Based on the interactions we're going to have in this case. Also, I'm going to provide you information related to virtual learning environments and the interaction that we're going to have in a synchronous way. Okay. And finally, we're going to watch something that is called Linguística de la Enunciación. Okay. So that is going to be for next week, if I'm not wrong. Right. Anyway, I'm going to share my screen right now. Okay. Well, this is not. Beep, 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 beep. Very good. Because we're going to check some little issues right here related to corrective feedback in second or foreign language classrooms. Okay, so this document was taken from Lister, Saito, and Sado 2013. It's not that old, but it's going to give us some very good ideas on what is going to be related to the corrective feedback. But before that, I would like to know, what do you know about feedback? What feedback is? So my question, your answers. You can interact, sorry, via microphone or via chat. Anyone? Do you know what feedback is?
Is a correction done by someone else, in this case a teacher, for we to correct our mistakes.
Okay, very good. You don't say for we to correct, no, for us to correct. Okay. Yes, so it's going to
Sorry.
be a correction done by someone else. It could be a teacher, it could be a peer. When I'm talking about the peer, it's going to be what, another classmate, right? Or someone else from a higher level. It could be like that, okay? But well, anyway, so that is going to be the way in which we're going to take into account that. Now, in this, with this tool, this, no, this is another tool. With this material, we're going to see the following things. Number one, what is corrective feedback? What is the purpose? Which are the types of feedbacks? How does it affect learners, or what is going to be the way this is going to affect in a positive way learners, the theoretical issues, and what is peer-to-peer corrective feedback. Okay. Now let's see this example, and I would like you to tell me what is wrong. Take into account that we're going to be focused on when, what, and how to correct. So watch the image. Watch the image and
Se está trabajando. Antes sí, sí, se limpió.
so watch the image over there and tell me what is wrong and how this could be corrected, sorry, in a very efficient way.
What is wrong? I mean, he's using in a bad way comparative adjectives and superlative.
Okay, yes. So we see over there something related to teacher. Am I more worse student in the class? So right here, the correction, you are worse, but you are the worst. So that is going to be the correction. Later on, we're going to see what is going to be the type of correction here, okay? Now we see, I promise I will be more better tomorrow. So what's the problem here? What can you infer
I
about
think
this?
that I think at moment of correcting, the process of correcting, the teacher needs to explain the topic and in every detail, and not
Okay.
exactly that the error or mistake is committed.
But it also depends on the kind of situation. I mean, if he's maybe he's speaking, or maybe he's doing and speaking, it's impossible to. I think no, it's kind of impossible to explain the whole topic while he's speaking, because we're going to interrupt what he's saying.
Okay, sounds good. Anyone else? No? Okay.
May I say something?
Yes.
I don't know if I'm wrong, but I think that it could be a
Spanish interference?
Spanish. Yeah, it's gonna sound really wrong. For example, más peor, más mejor, or something like that.
Okay, so we're going to use right here El Chavo del Ocho as a reference for us to talk about this. Well, it may work, yeah. So más mejor, más peor, right? So that is going to be a problem that we may have related to the lack of education that we have related to the way in which we interact with language inside our context, right? Or our social cultural context. So right here, we're going to have two main types of what? Of corrective feedback, and then we're going to have 6 more elements to be taken into account. The first one is going to be the reformulations, and the second one are going to be prompts. I would like you to look information about what prompts are. And I'm going to send you a document related to prompts, okay? And corrective feedback. Okay. On WhatsApp, you can find over there a document related to corrective feedback and some terms that we're going to use there, right? In which we're going to see explicit correction, recast, clarification request, metalinguistic clues, elicitation, repetition, which are going to be here. Okay, so when talking about reformulation, it's going to be just, okay, going back again to 0 and explain the whole thing, right? In an explicit way. But prompts are going to be just ideas, are going to be elements that are going to give an example, an inductive, a deductive example for students to understand what they have done wrong, okay, and then to correct them. I have it here, linguistic prompts. Okay. Okay. So the prompts right here are taken from the British Council. I want to share it over to your, okay, here, beep, 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 beep. Done. Okay. Taking into account what prompts are, once again, and based on the British Council, prompts are a stimuli a teacher uses to get learners to give a response using target language, right? Prompts can be visual, spoken, or written. So, for example, we're going to talk about food that you like or dislike, right? And then we're going to give some ideas, some examples related to what foods are, right? So, for example, if we're going to use the example of a yellow banana, but you're going to say, for example, orange red, apple red. So, what is going to be the way in which we're going to make this correction? So, if we think about the reformulation, right? I think I'm going to use green. If we talk about the reformulation, right? So we're going to take into account two little things. One, the recast. Okay. So what is going to be the recast? The recast right here is to ask questions, show examples related to what to do and what to avoid. Example. Okay, so don't say apple red. It is better to say yellow banana. It is better to say blue yacht. It is better to say brown coconut. Now, your turn. So, what is going to be the way for you to say that? Oh, so it's going to be what? It's going to be red apple, right? Now, the second point right here is going to be the recast. Sorry, the explicit correction. So the explicit correction is going to be even more direct. So please, please, please don't say apple red. Say red apple. Why? Because we need to take into account that adjectives comes first and then the noun. So that is going to be like that. Okay. Now, I have right here another definition related to linguistic recast. Right? So, in which is a technique in teaching to correct learners' errors in such a way that communication is not obstructed. To recast an error, an interlocutor will repeat the error back to the learner in a corrected form. So, what I told you before. Okay? Now, the prompts are going to be just related to elicitation, clarification request, repetition, and meta-linguistic. My question right here is, what do you understand related to elicitation? You can open the document that I shared to you. There's an example related to elicitation. No, don't know what elicitation is? Say yes, say no, say something, don't say something. The word something, please. Okay, elicitation right here is going to be just related to asking questions, right? So you're going to ask questions for the student to get to know to get to know what if the student has comprehended the whole topic, or still there are some doubts when understanding it, right? If you see the example over there in the web page, the PDF document that I shared, it says, for example, the elephant growls. So do we say the elephant? So that is going to be one prompt, right? Sorry, yeah, what the elicitation. So growls. Do elephants growl? No, they have a different sound, right? Okay, in 10 minutes I'm going to share, going to create another link. So who growls? Lions growl, right? Maybe tigers. So that is going to be the way for students to try to learn, right? So asking questions over and over again in a kind of Socratic way, so the meiotics, for us to let the student see if he or she has understood the whole topic. Clarification. Got it? The clarification request is right here. It is going to be when the student, for example, or when the teacher is going to indicate that we haven't understood something that the student has already said. In this case, we're going to ask the student to reformulate the whole idea, right? For example, there's an example here that says, can I make a card on the for my little brother on the computer? And then you're going to say, pardon me, I beg your pardon. Sorry, I didn't understand. So that is going to be just the clarification request. You're going to ask the student to repeat the whole thing, but this time in a clear way. Example, there is a common mistake right here at the university in which students, they tend to say, can found, right? So we can found, and then we're going to ask, sorry, can what? We can find, or we could find the information. So that's different. That is going to be clarification request. Now, repetition is going to be just that. You're going to repeat. You're going to make the student repeat what is right instead what is wrong. Okay, so you're going to show the student, and you're going to tell them like, okay, this example, the book is in the table, and then you're going to say something like, sorry, it's not in the table, it's on the table. Now repeat after me. The book is on the table. The book is on the table. So that is going to be the repetition. And the meta-linguistic clues, yes, it is going to be just related to, you're not going to provide any correct form, right? You're going to pose a question, right? Or you're going to give comments for the student to be sure on how to correct that correctly, okay? Example, no, that's it. So for example, we're going to create these technical questions. So let's say that, let's suppose that the student has already said apple instead of apple. So the meta-linguistic clues are going to say something like, well, I don't think it is apple the way in which manzana is going to be said in English. So what is going to be the proper way, and remember the phonological issues right here, for us to say manzana in English? Is it apple? Or is it apple? So that is going to be the way in which we're going to interact in this case. Okay? Is that clear?
Like a process of auto-reflection?
Yes. So it's going to be like self-reflection by asking questions or showing some other ideas related to the correct way in which we're going to say that. Okay? So you're not going to provide the correct
teacher,
form.
and what is the difference with elicitation?
Okay, the elicitation, you're going to ask questions, right? You're going to extract information from the student. It's going to be just Yeah, it's going to be like that. Just asking questions for you to let the student be aware about the right form to say things. But the meta-linguistic
Okay.
clues is going to be just, you're not going to provide the whole the thing in a good
Some
way.
ideas.
So you're going to say some ideas, right?
Yes.
You're going to try to
Yeah, I got
guide.
it.
You can ask questions. Yes, you're going to ask questions too, but related to the topic. Okay. So for example, in the case of once again Apple, so we're going to say something like that. Well, most of the words that they start with A and then P, they're not going to sound like A, right? Well, there are some other words like, for example, the chimpanzees, the gorillas, and some other monkeys. They're going to be called, well, there are monkeys and there are the superior beings that are going to be the apes. But apes, they don't have anything to be in common with the fruit, right? So you're giving over their metalinguistic clues. So what not to say with a fruit? So ape, because ape is going to be simio, right? But still, we're going to pronounce it like apparatus. So what is going to be like that? Oh, okay, apple, right? So we're going to try to lead the student to say the whole thing right, but we're going to show him or her some examples, right? In the elicitation part, you're going to say something like, okay, now that's wrong. So what have you said? Apple, right? Yeah. So what is the correct way for us to say, for us to avoid saying apple? Apple? No, no, it's not apple. So instead of saying apple and apple, what do you say? Apple. Oh,
Got it.
perfect. So
Got it.
that is going to be elicitation,
That
right?
is that is part of Socrates' method called majeutic.
Very good. That's it. Okay. Okay. Let's continue with the following slide. Okay. Now we're going to see right here in this, in 2 minutes, what is going to be just the types of corrective feedback based on Sheen and Ellis 2011. So we have right here, we have implicit and explicit. These are going to be the main issues right here for correcting. So in implicit and in explicit, you're going to find reformulation and prompts. But what is going to be the difference between implicit reformulation? You're going to create a conversational recast, right? So you're going to communicate those ideas in a right way, in an implicit way, while creating a dialogue for the student to realize about what he or she has said in a wrong way, right? So it is going to be something like for the student to guess what is wrong and what is right, right? But it's going to be constant. And the explicit reformulation, you have to use didactic resources, didactic recasters, right? So for example, you can use phonetics in the case of oral errors, right? So you're going to show the right pronunciation about that, right? In this explicit correction, you're going to use meta-linguistic explanation or maybe not, right? So therefore, we need to go back and we're going to use didactic recasters right here for the student to be aware on what to correct. But this is going to be direct. So implicit, indirect, explicit, direct, right? Guys, I'm going to stop the recording here. And I'm going to create a new chat room in Zoom. Okay, so go back to WhatsApp and then I'm going to share the link over there.